I shouldn't be tying my self-worth to a job that can easily be taken away from me. Without it, who am I going to be? One of the best things that a layoff ever did in our lives is to actually wake us up from the illusion that we can always depend on our salary. I always prioritize my career over my health. It got me to that point to realize that my priorities are wrong. You're still an employee, you are replaceable, and you are dispensable. There will come a time that you will need to retire from your job, or time will. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. And for this episode, we're going to talk about how 3 layoffs change how we view life working here in Canada, and at the same time, how it changed our mindset. So back in the Philippines, I never heard of a layoff. My parents did not get a layoff, my friends, my bosses. People leave the company because they quit, they got terminated, they retired, they ended their employment contract because they're contract employees. When we moved here in Canada, it's just so normal. Even if it's not your fault, you can be laid off from your job. So I can still remember my experience in my first layoff. I was told that it will happen, so I had notice saying that the company is not doing well, or we're going to have to lay off people, and that includes you. So it gave me time to process that information. At the same time, tell my husband, prepare our family, our finances, and how we're gonna survive and adjust as a family. But the feeling, the hurt, maybe because I was so dedicated at my job, and I've been an achiever even when I was still a student. So I graduated with honors, finished chemical engineering, I passed the board exam. We migrated here at an early age. We really tried to fight and survive. And at work, I usually receive good feedbacks and great performance reviews. And then all of a sudden, I experienced my first layoff, and I was lost. Like, why? I prepared for it mentally and financially, but then when it happened, it still hurt. I guess no one can ever prepare you for that. There was a time that I actually thought, like, was it my fault somehow? Or maybe it hurt because I treated it as a form of rejection. And it's harder to accept, right? I went through the whole process of grieving and questioning if was there ever anything that I could have done to prevent that layoff. And honestly, it was not a good experience. I was 33 years old when I learned and I accepted that I shouldn't be tying my self-worth to a job or a position or a title, because that can easily be taken away from me. And without it, who am I going to be? I would be lost, feel worthless, useless. And I went through all those, and I'm going to tell you, I didn't like that. And I'm not going to wish that for anyone. It's not me, it's not you, it's not us. It's just normal here in Canada. When the economy is not doing well, when the company is not doing well, they lay off people. We just have to face it, and that's just the way of life here. Experiencing a layoff also taught me that a job will not last forever. Nothing is forever. It's as good as it lasted. So you could be the best at your work. You could be, extending for free hours. You could be beating all the deadlines. You could be like gluing everyone together, wearing many hats. You can have the best performance review. You can even think that the company won't survive without you, or the team will have a hard time adjusting without you. But then you see them that they're moving forward and they can survive without you. So at the end of the day, you're still an employee. You are replaceable and you are dispensable. You have to prioritize yourself first and your well-being over anything. So when my husband and I are both working, we try to save and invest as much as we can. So before I proceed with all the things that we did or we've been doing, I would just like to mention that I'm not a financial planner, I'm not an expert, I'm not an advisor. I'm just here, a normal person, sharing our journey here in Canada. So what are those things? Number one, we take advantage of employers' RRSP matching. Some employers actually match an RRSP contribution by the employee. Some of it they match 100%. So whatever you give, they give the same amount up to a certain maximum. Some employers give 50%. So it depends on the program. So we take advantage of that program because it is free money. When I don't have a job, I always stop my contribution. Next is we contributed continuously to our daughter's RESP, so the educational plan. With this, we also get free money from the government because any contribution that we put in, the government matched 20% of it. And we continued contributing until she was 18. And then we also had a tax-free savings account. So anything that we don't put in an RRSP, RESP, and we don't want to put it in a cash, we put it in a TFSA. We like it because it's so flexible and we can take money whenever we want. We can move funds without worrying about the taxes. Next is building our emergency fund over time. It's really very important to have an emergency fund because you have cushion from your monthly budget. So in times like this, when I have a layoff or I'm experiencing medical leave, we have an emergency fund that we can use. And speaking of budgeting, we stay on top of our monthly bills. So we pay them on time, and all our credit card statement balances, we pay them 100% in full every month. And I think it's a discipline that you have to develop within yourself. We use credit cards instead of debit cards or cash because we earn points through credit cards as well. And we can use that later on for travel and for leisure and other things. And then lastly, we have insurance coverage. It is important to protect what you are building. So life insurance, there's so many insurance here, and you can find something that works for you. Since we have a mortgage here, I always tell my friends and my relatives in the Philippines that we can't afford to run out of money because in the Philippines, it's common that when you run out of money, you just go to your friend or your family members and then ask money from them or borrow money from them. Here in Canada, it's still probably some people are doing it, but it's not very common. So what we do is like we go to the bank and then or a lending institution and then take a loan. And if you have a trouble paying it back or you don't manage it properly, it can actually blow up and it's going to be very difficult to pay back. We learned financial literacy not because we want to. It's like a necessity that we had to learn it. And we are all self-taught. We came here, we didn't know about the whole financial ins and outs, and we made a few mistakes here and there, but along the way we learned and we keep learning. And you know what, we're very thankful that we actually put in the effort to learn what we know right now. And then my next would be to know your numbers. It's very important to know your cash flow, your family's cash flow. My husband and I, when we got married, we agreed that we're gonna have a monthly budget and we're gonna track our spending. We started pretty early, having a family, and that actually pushed us to become more financially responsible for everything in our household. It's been like almost 2 decades, and that's still in the Philippines. And yes, we needed to know how much money is coming in and how much money are we spending on different things. And then from there, we just know how to budget. Like, are we saving? Is there money left after spending these things? Or can we cut down on something else that we don't need? So here in Canada, it was very useful and it helped us stay on track. And we became disciplined because of it, because we know that this is just how much we can spend and that's it. We just live within our means. So knowing your numbers, how much you spend on the needs versus the wants, you can actually separate them, and when a layoff hits, you can create an effective plan. And yes, of course, when you're employed, time flies faster. You're so busy raising a family while working and taking care of the household. That's quite a lot. You work, you pay your bills, you splurge a little, you go on a trip, you shop, you subscribe on all the subscription that's possible and available, and you just lost sight of it sometimes, and you don't realize that time was actually moving very fast. And the next thing you know, it's been 10 years. And then you didn't even plan what's happening. You didn't even review where your money goes, or you didn't even think what's going to happen in the next 10 years. You didn't have the time to strategize and plan for your future. I think one of the best things that a layoff ever did in our lives is to actually wake us up from the illusion that we can always depend on our salary. It did not give us that comfort. It's like we're always checking, are we good? Are we prepared just in case one loses a job? It did not give us that feeling that we're just on autopilot, because one day everything is so smooth and everything is so relaxed, and then the next day everything becomes tight, and then we have to think how we spend and when we are going to spend. And then because of that, we started exploring and we started thinking, hey, you can never rely on your employment income all the time. So we became creative and we explored more on the other ways of how we can earn income. And also in our late 30s, we also did the unthinkable. So we actually started dreaming and picturing our early retirement, or if we can ever retire early, because we grew up believing that you have to work 9 to 5 from the time you graduated up until you're 60 or 65. And yeah, so we told ourselves that we can't just rely on income, employment income. So what we did, remember when I said that we like TFSA because it's flexible and we can move funds anytime we want. So we look into real estate, and right now we have rental income, and that is helping us right now. We were able to create a semi-passive income because of that. And slowly we learned the stock market. We were late. I'm gonna say we are late in the game. Some people would say that no one's late. You just start investing. What we did in the past was to go to the bank, put our money. We said we wanted in a RRSP or TFSA, and then we were asked if it's a low risk, a medium risk, and then a high risk. So we didn't know about the whole ETF, the whole stock market. We were just asked that question and we said, okay, we were so scared, we wanted to be low risk. And you know what happens with low risk, the growth is really low. This is not a financial advice. We are not professional and we're not financial advisors. I'm just relaying what we did in the past and our experience. We started learning. We questioned how we did things in the past. And here in Canada, there are accessible tools that you can use to invest and manage your own money. And that's what we did. So with that, we evolved and we keep evolving. And again, there are so many resources available now. I mean, there's so much, even here on YouTube, right? We have free tools, free videos covering taxes, financial planning, personal finance, early retirement, estate planning, name it. It's all available now. So it's free to learn, it's free education. So we took advantage of it. So the next question is, what's next after a layoff? And the obvious answer is that go find your next job. They're so programmed, right, to keep working and never stop and just work, and work. Sometimes we have 2 jobs or 3 jobs. It's like a sin to stop working and prioritize living. And I worried a lot. I worried about, our finances. I worried about if we're gonna make ends meet every month. I kept thinking about the missed opportunities. Like, we should be investing more. We should be doing this more. Like, I'm still healthy, like I'm young, like I should be earning, I should be doing this and that. And there's so much things that you can worry about in this life. But I just decided that I'm not going to think about all those things, and I won't let all those things consume me. And I told myself that we started working when we were in our early 20s. And right now, we've been in the job market for 20 years. So pausing and giving me a year to prioritize my health is something I deserve. I had a surgery, a major one, that I kept postponing or rescheduling because every time I find the courage to do it, then I will be hired for the next job. And I always prioritize my career and and my new job over my health. It got me to that point to realize that my priorities are wrong. I was laid off in May last year, 2025, and my employment insurance ended March of 2026. So since then, we're a single income household. And within those periods of time, I didn't go back to work. I applied, I tried, but I didn't get any response. In between that, I rested. I also created this channel, Unbound Life Blueprint. I also developed my own soap or bath products. We sold products over the holidays, and we also opened another channel, Let's Do This with Bernice, and those are our travel channels. And then I also prepared for taxes and then for our first trip to Europe. So there were a lot of things that happened between May 2025 to now. And all I'm saying is that the next step is actually obvious, that you find a job, but it may not be obvious, really. Maybe this is the time that you need to prioritize your health, like what I did. Or maybe this is the time when you know that you can enroll or upgrade or start learning new things like content creation and blogging. Maybe it's a change in career, or maybe it's also the time that you are waiting for to look into retirement. Maybe it's time for you to retire. Or maybe you can plan your exit strategy on how you can break free from your 9 to 5. So if you've reached this point of the video, well, thank you for listening and thank you for staying with me. I hope you learned a thing or two from our experiences. And again, so layoff is not an easy experience here in Canada, especially. And it's not pleasant at all. But we have to remember that it's also not the end of the world. Yes, we consider it as a negative thing, but we can also decide to learn from it. Because of it, we made some realizations and we made some decisions in our lives. It actually changed us on how we view life. It changed our mindset. And ultimately, there's so much to do here in this beautiful world instead of just working 9 to 5. So again, there's no forever at work. I'm not saying don't work. Of course, we need work. We need a job. But at some point, you're going to have to strategize and think about your future as well and take care of yourselves. Because there will come a time that you will need to retire from your job, or time will. Thank you for staying with me today. This is Unbound Life Blueprint. If you have any questions or any comments, write it down below and I go through all that. And if you like this type of content, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.